A woman pulled a strand of golden thread from her child's head, but the next moment, her child's eyes widened, and he stopped breathing altogether. Frantically, she described what had just happened to her husband, but he thought she was hallucinating and forbade her from seeing the child again. She was abandoned to live alone in a house high up in the mountains. What neither of them realized was that their child had turned into a vegetable. Living in isolation for so long, the woman's eyesight gradually improved. She could now see the branches of trees 100 meters away and even the strange floating insects in the air. She could even pull glowing golden threads from the plants. The golden threads had an incredibly soft texture. Determined to make something of it, she decided to weave the golden threads into fabric, but others couldn't see these threads. Even her mother thought her daughter had gone mad. The next day, John passed by the house. Only he could see the fabric that the woman had woven from the golden threads. It turned out that these were magical threads called yaoji. Ordinary people couldn't see them, and pulling them from a child could cause harm to the body, possibly even death. The woman suddenly realized that, unknowingly, she had nearly killed her own child. She told John everything that had happened. John suggested that if the child wore the fabric, it might bring him back to life. After descending the mountain, John visited the woman's husband and dressed the child in the clothes made from the magical threads. He repeatedly warned the man not to remove the clothes until the child had grown up, but the father couldn't see the clothes John had put on the child. Suddenly, the child, who had been in a deep sleep for so long, woke up. The child remembered what John had said. 2 years later, the baby who had once been unable to wake up had grown to the size of a 10-year-old. During a fight, none of the children in the village could match him. The villagers thought Bobby was some sort of monster. He often hid under the covers, crying, thinking his illness was caused by his mother giving birth to him, which was why she refused to see him. As Bobby grew, he began to see the floating bugs, just like his mother. He even told his father that there were fairy-like beings floating in the sky. His father thought Bobby was starting to behave like his mother and scolded him, telling him to forget everything he had seen. Bobby sneaked away to his room, crying. Then, he discovered the glowing clothes he was wearing. He had always thought the fairy had accidentally left them on him. It wasn't until John visited the village again that Bobby remembered who he was. When John mentioned taking the glowing clothes back, Bobby was surprised and looked at him. John decided to help Bobby remove the excess yaoji. When Bobby heard that it would make him stop seeing the strange creatures, he agreed to give it a try. But no matter how much special ointment John applied, the yaoji in Bobby's body refused to come out. Bobby's father wanted to ask the boy's mother to remove the extra threads of the insects, hoping to save Bobby. But even then, the father still refused to let the child see his mother. At that moment, Bobby, who had been listening outside the door, pushed it open and discovered that his mother didn't hate him. Bobby decided he wanted to see her. But because his father never forgave his wife, the mother had turned into a vegetable over the course of a year, like a puppet. John realized that the woman had been constantly touching the yaoji, and it was while trying to make a second piece of clothing that she had become infected and turned into this state. Bobby now understood that his mother had always been the fairy who protected him. Eventually, the woman was brought back home to be cared for. Gradually, she regained consciousness and returned to normal. The family of 3 was finally able to live together happily.